So let me tell you the best thing that ever happened to me. I died. Strange, right? Before I even graduated from high school, and funniest of all things, a thunderbolt that had ended my life. I didn't even have a chance to defend myself, I just got hit when I was sleeping. I remember waking up disoriented and with a big headache, and after that I found I was dead. I can't decide if I'm glad it wasn't a car that killed me, so, considering my usual behavior, dying in a way completely contrary to most reincarnation stories seems perfectly characteristic. I beg to differ. The moment I finally shuffled my deadly serpent, I found myself alone, walking across green fields with the sun on my face, and no Russell Crowe to be my spirit guide, but it's too bad. Instead, I shrugged and kept walking, wondering if this was the afterlife. Well, it was a little boring, but not horrible or anything. Or maybe it was just the purgatory I ended up in. No, not purgatory. More like universe's waiting room. I had turned, half scared for another death, and blinked in surprise at the sight that greeted me. 3 extremely beautiful women, all with curly brown hair and immaculate white dresses, and smiles that suggested they had a royal flush after everyone else entered. Hello. I think I can be forgiven for not being the most verbose person after dying, something the 3 women agreed with while they all laughed like I was an ordinary comedian. Hello young man and welcome to the start of your new life. That got some confused blinks from me. Reincarnation. Hey, you did it. This is better than most people. Well, to be totally fair, I'm still not totally convinced that this isn't some kind of psychological hallucination brought on by overdue food and a late night. They did that laughing laugh again like the protagonist who spoke happily. Well, don't worry, we're as real as possible. Now let's get down to business. I think you'll be happy to hear that since Wei died in a completely random way, his soul was at stake and we were the ones who grabbed her. Yay. Oh, relax, yeah? Just be glad you didn't end up in Ares or some other idiot domain. They like to send people to Warhammer 40k. Ick. I vaguely remember a state of complete and utter bewilderment, but the idiot side of my brain, which was somehow understanding what the woman was telling me, replied, wait, so it's not technically reincarnation, but putting people into other worlds? I'm not putting myself in something horrible. More laughter ensued. Don't worry. Ilema and my sisters Karta and Dekla have decided to send you to the heavenly world of high school DxD. By the time I'd just been revived, it hadn't been Attack on Titan or some other fucked up universe where horrible death was a constant companion. Although it's been a while since I've read or watched DxD, it's a world of light romance. As long as you're not an idiot, surviving comfortably wouldn't be too difficult. And then the bomb was dropped. Okay, a little bit of technical details before we get down to business. Those altering stories like DxD, Warhammer, Harry Potter etc. are static. Your events don't change unless something forces you to them change, like a person reincarnated from another world. They had that card shark smile once more. Here's the deal. We send you to DxD with a plethora of gifts and abilities, and in return, you shake things up a bit, upset the status quo and give us something new to watch. Sound good? Suffice it to say that, even though things had been a dream, I wasn't in any particular rush to wake up. The world of DxD, the land of unbridled sex and power, where someone with a slight problem of social maladjustment could thrive. Sign me the fuck up. Okay, so what are these gifts and abilities we're talking about here? Well, for starters, we'll provide the basic necessities so you don't waste our 2 times. A mansion hidden from the world, teleportation circles, and maids, all ready to enter the facility, oh, and a training room. To have a training room. Shit, if this had been a dream, I really didn't want to wake up. Then to your wishes. I thought about them for a while until I made up my mind. First I want a system where I can evolve and acquire the most diverse things a system that a lot of people ask for. Very well, what's the second? I want the bloodline and all the powers of the King of Heroes Gilgamesh. As soon as I said that a big one passed the women's lips. A very interesting request, just with that you could put yourself among one of the strongest in the world. It's just that I like the character a lot. I say, scratching my head, so demanding. We like it. And your final gift before we send you on your way. I want a Long Inu's sacred gear. I see. So if you don't mind, we'll pick one for you. I nod my head. After all, they are already giving me this opportunity. Okay, if that's right, we'll start the process. You'll be arriving a few years early, so you have time to get used to your powers, and convince yourself that this isn't a dream, and for some other tasks. I had offered a crooked smile and replied, well, if that turns out to be reality, then you have my sincere thanks for it, Miss Goddesses. I foresee fun times ahead. The final laugh that marked our first and last meeting together had an extraordinarily perverted tone. Oh, before we forget. We've made some changes to the things we think you'll like. Have fun. I didn't get a chance to ask what that meant before falling back on my way to the best moment in my new life. Naoko was a beautiful woman of apparently 20 years, she had blonde hair that flowed down her back and beautiful sapphire blue eyes, in addition to a beautiful figure. She was one of the most beautiful and most wanted women in the world, not only for her looks, but also for who she was. Naoko was a great archaeologist and writer famous around the world, a genius who had graduated in several Italian colleges, her homeland, in addition to having made great discoveries in the history of the world, one of which made her most famous was the discovery of the city Gilded of Uruk, which was ruled by the Golden King Gilgamesh. Uruk was an ancient city-state of Mesopotamia, which existed about 5,000 years ago, which was revolutionary at the time, creating many technologies that are still used today, and of course for such a grand place should have a king to match. The one who ruled city-state was the Golden King. The world's first hero, Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, according to the stories, was the son of Lulabunga, the former king of Uruk, and the goddess Rimatsu-Ninsun, the Sumerian god of healing and love, a demigod who was considered the original model on which all heroes were based and one who collected all the treasures of the world. And Naoko was responsible for writing her story in what became known as the Epic of Gilgamesh. Yachi is a Japanese man with messy black hair and also has crystal blue eyes. Yachi was a great doctor and businessman, having graduated from the most renowned colleges in the world, a man who ran one of the largest companies in the world. As a great doctor who discovered cures for various diseases, achieved artificial intelligence, he is considered one of the most competitive men in the world. Yachi and Naoko met during an affair in which they fell in love and a few years later were married, much to the chagrin of many other suitors. They were normal people who were not aware of the supernatural world, but would have a very important child. Tokyo, Japan. In a hospital in the city of Tokyo, the birth of a being who would change the world was taking place. Naoko screamed as the contractions hit again. She was giving birth to her first child, and it wasn't going well. She had been in labor for 13 hours and was exhausted and in pain. Her husband, Yachi, was holding her hand, and generally supporting her, but she was so ready to end it. Finally, the nurses pulled the baby out and the contractions stopped. "Congratulations, it's a boy!" the nurse cried as she handed Naoko her newborn. "What are we going to call him, dear?" Yachi asked his wife, looking fondly at her and her new child. She looked at her son, thinking deeply. "Gilgamesh, it will be Gilgamesh," said Naoko with a smile. Yachi was staring at her with a raised eyebrow. "Really?" asked the man to his wife. Naoko just looked down her nose with a look so sweet that it sent a shiver down his spine, and even the nurses. "Do you have a problem with that, dear?" asks the woman with a very sweet smile. "No ma'am. It's an excellent name," said the man, fearing his wife would kill him on the spot. When Gilgamesh first opened his new eyes, his new parents were amazed at their color. Instead of the blue they expected from a newborn baby, his eyes were a crimson red, like blood. His skin was also paler than most Japanese, looking more European than Oriental. This led doctors, mistakenly, to diagnose it with albinism, assuring the new parents that it was not an inherently harmful disorder and that they only needed to take care of vision problems. So, reassured, they soon took him home happy. 6 years later, Gilgamesh, or Gil as he was called, grew up as a normal child. The only thing different was his creativity and intelligence far above any other child of his age. This showed in his rapid development. As a 1-year-old he already knew how to walk and was beginning to speak his first words. His development continued with great growth. When he was 2 years old he was able to speak the entire alphabet normally. His parents, Yachi and Naoko, although they couldn't stay at home much due to work, took great care of their son, and when they found out about his rapid growth they didn't hesitate to hire several private tutors to help their son. And then his growth soared. When he was 3 years old he already knew the basic math operations, and was starting to learn the more complex ones. Even with his intensive study Gilgamesh's personality didn't change, always remaining a very cheerful and playful child, and he also enjoyed collecting various things and objects, referring to them as treasures. When he was 5 years old his parents bought a large apartment in Italy for him to live in comfortably, but of course with many maids and butlers to look after him. At the age of 5, his parents dismissed the private tutors, as their son had already acquired enough knowledge to be in high school. They dismissed them so that their son could enjoy his childhood. 1 year later. 7 a.m. Currently in a big mansion, more precisely in a big luxurious room, it was possible to see a little boy was sleeping in his bed. System starting. System started. Checking mental status. Mental status verified. Checking spiritual status. Verified spiritual status. Checking physical status. Verified physical status. Mixing memories from former owner to host. 10%, 40%, 70%, 90%, 100% complete assimilation. Welcome host. My head hurts. When I open my eyes I see myself in a big room full of toys around me and that I'm in a big bed. Then in a click all the memories start to come back, the memories of that body and also of the encounter with the goddesses. Was that really real? Did I actually meet the goddesses and reincarnate in the DxD world? Wait, don't get distracted. I get up and go to the mirror that was next to the bed. The first thing I realized is that I was little. Tiny. But when I saw my appearance I froze. I have golden hair like gold and crimson red eyes like two precious rubies. I'm a kid Gilgamesh. Looking at the memories of the old self, it is possible to understand things. Well, I didn't know I was a genius at studying. But my life is pretty amazing. Thank you goddesses. Wait one moment. There is one more thing to see. System. I asked myself, although it feels weird. Yes host. This is amazing. Yes, now it's really amazing. Want to start host tutorial? Yes, no, yes, let's start system. The system has the following host functions. Status. Inventory. Lineage. Store. Skills. I understand. Can you give me a description of them? Yes, host descriptions are as follows. Status. In statuses are where the main functions of the system are located. In it the host can see HP and MP as well as its strength, speed, and other attributes. Inventory. The inventory is a space separate from reality where the host can store anything but living beings. Lineage. In this option, the host can buy the most diverse bloodlines such as Shinigami, Uchiha, Deus, among others. Each bloodline gives the host unique abilities. Shop. In the shop the host is able to buy any weapon or item he wants, like for example Akuma no Miss, Zanpakuto and Noble Phantasm. Skills. In this option the host can buy any existing skills to use as they wish. I see, this is actually very useful. Say, status host status. Name, Gilgamesh. Lineage, demigod. Title, King of Heroes. Sacred Gear, unknown. Level, 01 underscore 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 HP 1000/1000 500 HP every 10 seconds, MP 1000/1000 500 MP every 10 seconds, STR 100 VIT 100 int 100 dex 100 lucky 100 underscore 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 gold 000. So this is my level. System. Why my sacred gear is unknown? The host must wake it up to find out what it is. I understand. Can you give me a description? Yes, host. Lineage. The lineage is the race and genetic tree of the host. It can be changed if the host acquires another one. Each lineage has different abilities. Titles. Titles are nicknames given to the host for doing certain missions or reconnaissance. Each title has its unique property. HP, it's your hit points. It is variable for each lineage. If it reaches 0, the host dies. MP, it's your mana points. It is variable for each lineage. If the mana reaches 0, the host faints. STR, these are the physical abilities of the host. Strength, endurance, longevity, durability, healing time, and combat skills. VIT, it's your vitality. Mental, physical, spiritual, and sexual health. Int, it's the intelligence. Ability to learn and reason and process information. Dex, it's your dexterity. Agility, reflexes, senses, speed, precision. Lucky, it's your luck. This improves all social aspects of the host. I understand, but I didn't know that each bloodline and title gave unique abilities. Can you tell me what I get with my bloodline and title? Yes, host. Lineage, demigod. The bloodline of demigod gives its user the ability to have the physiology of a demigod. Physiology of demigods, the user is or can transform into a demigod, mythological beings with partially divine status. Children of gods with mortals, people born from the union between a mortal being and a divine being, and inherit this power from their divine parent. They can gain from powers associated with the domain of their divine parents, even gain a domain of their own, or else just acquire generic powers from transcendent beings. System. Which goddess was Gilgamesh's mother? Gilgamesh was born from the union of the king of Uruk, Lulabunga, and the Sumerian goddess of healing, also being considered a goddess of love, Rimat Ninsun, so the host is able to exert his power over these domains. I see, so what skills do I gain as a demigod? Abilities acquired from the possessor of demigod physiology are, decelerated aging, supernatural condition, improved agility, improved strength, improved reflexes, improved directions, improved speed, improved vigor, improved strength, regenerative healing factor, cure, induction to lust. My god! That's a lot of skills. Well, if you analyze them they really belong to many demigods. System. Can you give me a description of them? Yes, host. Name, decelerated aging. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, the user either ages slower than normal for his species or is a species that has an extended shelf life. Underscore 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 name, supernatural condition. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, users are brilliant, naturally superior to their race because their abilities go beyond the natural level, making them immensely stronger, faster, thunderously agile reflexes, more durable and intelligent than normal members of their species can achieve by any training method and stay that way with little or no maintenance. Underscore 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 name, improved agility. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, the user with this skill can effortlessly move from one move to another, effectively dodge attacks, easily give mortals, climb walls, make air vents, and countless other gymnastics, athletics, and martial moves with little effort. Underscore 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 name, improved strength. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, the user's ability to resist damage is extremely high, allowing them to take several internal or external blows before succumbing to its effects. Name, improved reflexes. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, the user has tremendous reaction speed, allowing him to dodge bullets, catch flies in the air, dodge complex attacks, catch falling objects, block damage, and instantly react to what others take longer to react. Underscore 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 name, improved senses. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, improved senses is the ability to receive amplifications in all 5 senses, aiding in combat, defense, and escape. Underscore 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 name, improved speed. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, user can move much faster than a common member of their species, some close, or at the speed of sound, or even faster. However, this power has negative effects as it can harm the body, although some users may be resistant or even immune to the effects of high-speed travel, including friction, inertia and so on. Underscore 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 name, improved stamina. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, the user is able to do most sudden actions for several hours without getting tired, that is, for longer than a normal person could. Underscore 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 name, improved strength. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, users have a high strength and superior to their species, being able to perform acts that common members of their species would not have the strength to perform. This level of strength can sometimes be achieved by various times training methods. Name, regenerative healing factor. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, user can regenerate quickly. In other words, they recreate lost or damaged tissues, organs, and limbs, sometimes slowing down, or even stopping, aging. The rate and amount of scarring varies widely. Some can rebuild lost limbs, others must put the limb back in place for quick regeneration. They are generally in good physical shape as their bodies are constantly returning to a healthy state, giving them almost inexhaustible strength and vitality. At higher levels, users can regenerate not only their cellular tissue but also their DNA, undoing genetic mutations and degradation, as well as maintaining youth by extending telomeres. It also gives them immunity to disease and infection, dispelling any unwanted symptoms, as well as providing a form of self-support that precedes oxygen needs and food intake. If advanced enough, the ability will cause the body to stop aging as cells are regenerating and dying in balance. Underscore 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 name, healing. Type, active. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, the user can make living beings return to their full state of health, recovering them from various types of ailments in their body, such as injuries, damaged bones and limbs, diseases, and even the effects of toxins. The level of healing power can vary, but powerful users can even cause their targets to have entire limbs rebuilt or recover from illnesses considered incurable. The cure is divided as follows: basic level, user can do anything normal healing would do, but at an accelerated rate. Expert level, user can do anything that normal healing and modern medical knowledge can do as well. Advanced level, user can heal in ways that even current medical knowledge cannot. Master level, user can heal anything as long as the target is alive. This ability is due to the host being a child of the goddess of healing. Underscore 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 name, induction of lust. Type, active. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, user can induce sexual arousal in others to make them lusty and with aggressive sexual desires for sexual interaction by attacking the libido of others. This power can work with both sexes, sexual interests, and people of any age. This ability is due to the host being a child of Th times E goddess of love. My god, that's really a lot of skills. But most of them are not combat-oriented. Well, they are the skills of the demigods. System: what is this passive and active and rarities? Abilities are divided into passive and active. Active, these are combat-oriented abilities or skills that the host needs to activate in order to be used. Passive, these are skills that are always in use and the host doesn't spend MP to use them. Abilities are also divided into rarities. Common, rare, super rare, mega rare, ultra rare. The higher the rarity, the more expensive and powerful the skill. I understand, it really makes a lot of sense. And the system titles? Titles are nicknames given to the host for doing certain missions or reconnaissance. What titles do I have and their system effects? The titles that the host has: King of Heroes, King of the Golden Rule, King of Heroes. This title gives the host 50% more respect with other heroes and their descendants. King of the Golden Rule, this title gives the host 50% improvement in the skill Golden Rule. I understand. Can I use more than one title at the same time? Yes host, I understand. But system and my abilities from the Gilgamesh bloodline. Host should say skills. List of host skills: Golden Rule, Gate of Babylon, Sovereign of Magic Wands, Melamu Ding. I see, there are a lot of skills. Can you give me a description of them system? Yes host. Name, Golden Rule. Type, passive. Rarity, super rare. Level, 100/100. Description, the Golden Rule. It is an ability that refers to the measure of one's fortune to acquire wealth. Being destined for a life full of riches, he can live like a millionaire. Gilgamesh lives the life of a nabob and has no financial problems his entire life. In legend, he claimed all the treasures of the world as his own and is said to have infinite wealth in his golden capital. The originals of noble phantasms preserved in his treasure were collected during this period. Although this ability appears to be unrelated to battle, it plays a large role in arming Gilgamesh. Underscore 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 name, Gate of Babylon. Type, active. Rarity, ultra rare. Level, 100/100. Description, Gate of Babylon. The king's treasure is the golden capital that Gilgamesh's king's treasure and, furthermore, the golden key attached to it. His main noble phantasm is the warehouse Gilgamesh built to store all the world treasures he claimed in his life, known as the Divine Gate. It connects the space of reality to the vault, opening an invisible door between dimensions that allows content to pass through at the command of its owner. Allowing easy access to treasure items, he is able to choose and use them as he pleases. Noble Phantasm's rating changes from EA due to reflecting the treasure's content ratings. It is a noble ghost that becomes more powerful with the user's wealth, but therefore would not be useful without a wealth of valuables. Weapons appear through golden ripples around the user, which can be used one at a time, or rain showers on the enemy. Gilgamesh is known to have collected all the treasures in the world while alive, acquiring a perfect treasure that lacked nothing. Weapons are separated by categories and by MPX rank: MP cost, 1000. Rank A, MP cost, 800. Rank B, NP cost, 600. Rank C, MP cost, 400. Rank D, MP cost, 200. Rank E, MP cost, 100. Underscore 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 name, ruler of magic wands. Type, passive. Rarity, super rare. Level, 100/100. Description, ability that denotes Gilgamesh's way of being as a caster who manipulates various mystical codes. Gives bonuses to magic type attacks. He will take care of the tools with care in case of a fight as long as he keeps an eye on them. He was a king. Underscore 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 name, Melamu Dinger. Type, active. Rarity, rare. Level, 100/100. Description, Melamu Dinger, signal cannon of the king is the noble ghost of Gilgamesh in his caster form. It is a long-range bombing of the Uruk citadel. A prodigious cannon shot that concentrates not only Gilgamesh himself, but also the full strength of the people of Uruk who lived in the Age of Gods. I understand here are all the noble phantasm from Gilgamesh. But by far the main one is the Gate of Babylon. All the treasures in the world. Just imagining makes me happy. Well everyone, as even Gilgamesh admitted that he didn't have any like Karna's Vasaka Shakti and Excalibur Avalon's scabbard. But it's amazing. The host has an initial package. Do you want to open it? Yes, no, yes. Opening package. Open package. The host received 5 skills: player body, player's mind, mana manipulation, magic proficiency, ID create. Very good system. Can you give me a description? Yes. Host name, player core. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Description, ensures a body that allows the user to live real life as if it were a game. Underscore 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 name, player's mind. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Description, allows the user to think calmly and logically in each situation, allowing a state of mental peace as well as immunity to psychological effects. Underscore 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 name, mana manipulation. Type, active. Rarity, rare. Level, 01/100. Description, the user is able to generate, shape and manipulate mana for a variety of purposes and can create objects including platforms, force fields, etc. Because mana is present in all living beings, the user is able to detect life. Underscore 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 name, magic proficiency. Type, passive. Rarity, rare. Description, the user has a natural ability to learn the ways of magic, being a talented wizard even with little or no training or help from veterans. He is able to intuitively assimilate any form of magic and master its use with few observations, acquiring a range of powers thanks to this gift. Underscore 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 name, ID create. Type, active. Rarity, super rare. Description, allows the user to create an instantaneous dungeon filled with several different beings. Its main objective is for the user to increase their level. Ho many useful skills. Right now I should calm down and analyze what I'm going to do. Ding yes, system. The host has the original Gilgamesh memories, would you like to receive them? I widen my eyes. This I did not expect. Why do I have them system? The goddesses made available to the host, I understand. Does it take a long time to receive them? 1 hour I see, start system. Starting process. Process started. I just see everything go dark when I pass out. Loneliness. If there was one word to describe Gilgamesh's life, this would be it. When his memories started to pass through me, it wasn't just them. It was his experience, memory, and feelings. All your pain, sadness, hate, anger, joy, everything. Gilgamesh was born the son of the king of Uruk Lulabunga and the Sumerian goddess Rimatsu Ninsun. He was a supreme and transcendent being, so divine that he was 2/3 of the gods and 1/3 of humans, and no one else in the world could match him. He was a despot who possessed a high deity that he believed was invincible. Born with a body that was of the highest degree by mortal standards and knowledge that attained the truth, Gilgamesh was born, appointed king and wedge of heaven to connect the ascending humans and the vanishing gods. He was sent to secure the humans and hold the earth, slowly leaving the age of gods. He was a being who personified the two sets of life forms, with the blood of those who ruled and the blood of those who would rule from then on. He should be the last neutral party able to discern their respective flaws, judging from their respective positions. There was no fault of the young king. During his first years of reign he was praised as a kind and gentle king, always being praised by his people, his only fault being that he had never submitted to the gods. But as he transcended adulthood he was changing. The king at another gentle time became a tyrant, practicing absolutism, oppression, coercion, demands, and the maximum decay of self-interest. The people of the kingdom lamented the change, and even the gods were perplexed by the extent of the expected transformation. The reason was simply that he was born with the conclusion already drawn, existing independently as a being neither fully divine or human. He acquired the characteristics of both, so that his field of vision reached beyond what the gods were able to comprehend. His overwhelming power created an overwhelming isolation, but his strength of self prevented him from abandoning his royalty or fleeing the mission imposed on him. By revering the gods and loving mankind, he decided to follow the path to its completion, deposing the gods and hating mankind. The gods, already foreseeing this, created even in the childhood of Gilgamesh a being to stop him. Enkidu. Created from clay by the king of the gods Anu, and the goddess of creation Aruru. Enkidu was neither a man nor a woman, he was just a being created out of clay for the purpose of being the chains that would return the cornerstone, Gilgamesh, back to the control of the gods. Gilgamesh first encountered Enkidu outside the temple of Uruk, who immediately declared that he would rebuke the king and rectify his arrogance. They entered a battle that lasted several days, and Gilgamesh was forced to use all his strength to match his transforming opponent. He was irritated or surprised at having met his equal for the first time, taunting Enkidu like a clod of mud. He was forced to draw out his treasures which had been carefully guarded, marking the first use of the Gate of Babylon as a weapon, and although it was initially a reluctant and forced humiliation, he finally began to appreciate them and brought them out. No regrets. He ended up emptying the vault, and Enkidu was left with only a tenth of his clay. Instead of continuing, Gilgamesh dropped onto his back as he roared with laughter, following Enkidu. He noted that there would be only one chance to attack for each of them and, without any means of defense, that would leave only two silly corpses. Enkidu was never able to interpret whether this meant it was a draw or whether Gilgamesh wanted to make it so that there was only one corpse. Enkidu asked, "Don't you regret the treasures you spent?" To which he replied in a bright voice, "Well, if it's someone I should use it on, it's not unthinkable to do him a favor." Gilgamesh and Enkidu became close friends later, marking the only story of eternally unchanging value in the entire world. He became the greatest and richest king on earth, who ended up acquiring all the treasures in the world. Uruk became unprecedentedly prosperous, and Gilgamesh was considered so powerful that even the gods could not ignore his existence. One goddess, Ishtar, the goddess of fertility, even fell in love with Gilgamesh and proposed marriage to the perfect king. He rejected her immediately because he knew she was an unfaithful witch, cruel and the corrupter of all men. She was furious, feeling that he had insulted her, and went to her father, the god Anu, for revenge. She begged him to release the bull of heaven. The unquestioned beast of the gods caused 7 years of famine and destruction on earth. Working together, Gilgamesh and Enkidu defeated him after linking him to the chains of heaven, causing the dark clouds that covered the world to fade and saving the earth from the flood. Ishtar's reputation was once again crushed, and her fury did not abate. She asked that they be killed for the sin of killing a beast of the gods with the body of a human. Her request was granted, and Enkidu, created by the gods, was unable to defy the decree. It slowly weakened and returned to the clay, while Gilgamesh desperately held the crumbling clod in his arms. He was irritated by this, believing he was the one who deserved retribution, should the need arise. Enkidu tried to calm him down, telling Gilgamesh that he was just one of the many treasures in Gilgamesh's collection, that he would find countless others greater than himself in time. Gilgamesh declared, "You have value. Only you have that value. I declare, in all this world, only one will be my friend. Thus, not for all eternity will your value ever change." Enkidu returned to its original state later, leaving only the shrill bang of Gilgamesh behind. Until that moment, Gilgamesh had lived by his own standards, collecting wealth, laying down bedding, fighting with his friend, and purging the land of prohibitions. Enkidu, returning to the dust, meeting death, changed his mind a lot. Death had never inspired grief or fear in him until that moment, and it had never been in his mind, though he knew he awaited everything. Seeing the one who possessed a power equal to him perish before his eyes, he registered the true reality of death for the first time. The despair Gilgamesh felt was because he saw death as an escape from his duty as an observer of humanity. In order to fulfill his mission completely, he must observe humanity's path to its end. Falling into depression and lack of vigor, he sought the herb of immortality, a spiritual herb of perpetual youth and eternal life. Gilgamesh hated and feared the death that took his friend, leaving him in fear of his own life for the first time since birth. He followed his journey, which he later called a farce, which lasted the same amount of time as he had lived up to that moment. He wandered the desert for decades, as described in the epic, crawling pathetically while thinking about nothing but not wanting to die. He had the same motive as all humans, for not even a child of the gods was different when faced with death. With idiocy exceeding that of humans, he continued to try to overcome death, tossing aside the pride, authority, and power of the king, not knowing a purpose for doing it or someone to do it for. With idiocy exceeding that of humans, he continued to try to overcome death, tossing aside the pride, authority, and power of the king, not knowing a purpose for doing it or someone to do it for. His fear of death was one of the reasons for his actions, but he also loathed death because he couldn't forgive himself for abandoning his role of looking into the future. He finally reached the realm of the dead and discovered, upon meeting Utnapishtim, that his form of immortality was not at all special. Utnapishtim gained longevity by joining the ranks of the gods, becoming a plant in the process. Gilgamesh rejected such immortality because it had to be immortal with a human's desires still intact, rather than simply living eternally in a body without appetite. He had simply planned to leave the underworld and return to Uruk to complete his vault, but Utnapishtim, having been doubtful of having his mode of existence rejected or possibly wanting to condemn someone who had denied the immortality of the gods to the same existence, told Gilgamesh a secret. He told Gilgamesh a method of becoming immortal without seeking the mercy of the gods, the root of an herb that grew in the depths. Although he himself did not consume it, as it would become just a plant, he collected it as a rare treasure to decorate his vault. Stopping in the depths, he shook the grass and came back above ground. Unable to put words to his mood at the time, there was a part of him that was hopeful, even though he declared that there was no need for immortality modeled on the gods. He smiled with his realization as he returned to the surface, believing he could defeat death and avenge his friend. With the ability to overcome the death that had led to Enkidu, the voices and cheers of the people of Uruk would have reached an unprecedented level upon returning with immortality. Describing himself as being in the recklessness of youth, vanity soon followed and he was troubled by his irregular state, which he had not spared a single thought until that time. He wanted to purify himself before returning to Uruk to test the fruits of his labor in perfect condition, so he rested the next spring to recover from the fatigue accumulated over decades of searching. He experienced a certain feeling in that moment that he believed was his first real feeling of joy. As the water healed him, he felt a tranquility as if releasing a lingering malaise in body and mind. It was the first time he was so ecstatic with any of his achievements because the act of gathering treasures is like an instinct like breathing that brings him no joy. The act of obtaining immortality was the first time he had given thanks for being born into the world, because, despite claiming to have the perspective of humans, he believed he was not human until that moment. He felt free of everything, no doubts, fears, fixations or duties. Overwhelmed by the feeling of omnipotence, he describes feeling as la vital, the reward of his own desire and the belief that he could do whatever he wanted with that joy for all eternity. It was then that his carelessness caused her to be ripped from him, torn down by desires, the simple appetite of hunger, of a snake that crawled in the jungle. The snake on an empty stomach was attracted by the smell of grass, and though a panicked Gilgamesh emerged from the spring, it was too late. The snake gained the property of shedding, having been the restoration of youth rather than immortality, and all that was left was her shed skin. He was then struck by the laughter at the event, the absurdity of the conclusion on everything he hoped to win and everything he prided himself on being nothing. He laughed at his own foolishness until his sides ached. Although he was not unable to obtain anything, he understood that his only reward was that nothing would be left for him. The satisfaction in life and joy he first gained instantly disappeared, making him realize that it was the nature of the human world. Realizing that immortality was unnecessary to his duty, he was born a human at that time and died a human after learning joy. Although he was complete from birth, he also had his inexperienced times. Taking almost his entire life to complete his development, he reached physical maturity at the time with Enkidu and mental maturity at that time, marking the end of his youth. Having laughed at the theft, the sun had risen and smiling at the fleeting moment of human joy, he returned to Uruk. Marking the end of his adventures, he ruled Uruk as the ruler of heroes and completed him. Later, he also returned to the depths to retrieve the herb once more, simply to complete his collection and, by chance, he would be in a situation he could only tolerate as a child. Though still severe, he ruled Uruk in silence, entrusting him to the next king before going to eternal rest without telling the herb's whereabouts. He became mankind's oldest hero and the illustrious king who was the first in this world to become a story. With MC after waking up truly the greatest king in the world. Someone who started well, got lost and later found himself. I never in my life imagined seeing and experiencing this. In my life before that I was someone common, a Brazilian named Diogo, someone who had his own ups and downs, but nothing worthy of note. To think that someone lived and experienced it all. The world is really big. Just like the one I live in now. It's not a normal world anymore. In this world there are gods and beings with the power to destroy it. I must strengthen myself to prepare myself for this world. After all, I want to prevent a lot of things from happening. In this world several beings are plotting for evil, things I want to avoid. Like for example, has Rizevim already allied with the vampires to free Trihexa? Is Hades already planning the extermination of the users of Long Enus and the leaders of each mythology? Does NYX already plan to use Ingvilt Leviathan to control Great Red and Off Eyes? There are several things to happen in this world that I want to avoid. After all, the goddesses brought me here to change history. And with my powers and my future adventures I will change the world. After all, this is my new life. It had been some time since I saw the memory of Gilgamesh. After that, and also analyzing what I'm going to do in this world, I decided to explore the room a little, which is undoubtedly amazing, full of toys and games and lots of things to do. After a fun time with the games I went to the bathroom, do basic necessities, and even admit I admired myself in the mirror a little bit. What? I'm handsome in that way. After that I reviewed some of my memories, which I admit was tricky. How can I explain? I already know. Let's say it looks like there are 3 people in the same body. After all, I have my memory as Diogo, the one I was born here in this world, from birth to 6 years old, and Gilgamesh. Although a little complicated, I managed. I also trained a little with mana manipulation, and I must say the feeling of making the magic power run through my body is amazing. I felt everything around me, I felt alive. I also reviewed some of my memory about the DxD world. I wouldn't consider myself a great connoisseur of this world, as I only watched the anime, and read a little of the novel. Even though the novel is much more complete than the anime, I wonder if this world will follow the novel or the anime more. Although I know of many future events. For those who haven't read the novel, spoiler alert. One of the events I think I should most avoid is the resurrection of Thehexa, 666, by Rizevim Levon Lucifer. Why is this incident that fucks up the world? After all, to stop Trihexa, 666, the main gods/leaders of each mythology had to seal themselves with the beast to avoid destruction, and this was the chance for several beings who wanted evil to try to dominate/destroy the world. That old villain talk. After all, Trihexa, 666, is the beast of the apocalypse described in the Bible, and it fought against the god of the Bible who couldn't win it, resulting in it being sealed by the same in the end of the world. A being as strong as Great Red and Off Eyes. Rizevim was able to use the sacred gear of the Long Enus class, Sephiroth Graal, which has the ability to connect to the principle of life to find the beast. But this I can avoid if I rescue Valerie, the user of the Sephiroth Graal, or get rid of Lucifer's son. I think after that the most problematic is the god of the dead Hades, who formed the Hell Covenant, a group made up of evil gods who had the objective of destroying the main gods of each mythology, the users of Long Enus and Ajoka Beelzebub. But it's like that saying goes, nothing an EA rupture sword won't solve. I think that was the saying. TOC***. I'm brought out of my thoughts by a knock on the door. Are you awake, young master? I hear a voice ask. Young master is what I'm called by the servants of the house, although it's a little shameful. Yes. Come on in, I say. Then the door opens and from it enters a man who has the appearance of an elderly butler, and he is dressed gracefully in his traditional black uniform. His hair is completely white, as is his immaculate beard. He has visible wrinkles on his hollow face, which makes him look gentle in appearance, but his eyes are as sharp as an eagle's. Good morning, young master, says the man as he bows slightly. Good morning to you too, Sabas, I say, remembering who he is. His name is Sebastian, or Sabas as I call it. It seems he is a butler who works for my family since I was born in this world. He was always responsible for me due to my parents not being with me. But make no mistake, my parents love me a lot and are willing to do anything for me. We are a close-knit family. They just don't have a lot of time to be with me due to work. From my memories of before reincarnating in this body, Sabas is like a father, more precisely an uncle. For me he always took care and helped me a lot. You were taking so long, so I came to see what happened, said the butler as he looked at me. It kind of freaked me out, it felt like he could see my soul. Sorry about that, I was thinking, I say a bit nervously. Very well. Coffee is ready now, Sabas says as he leaves the room and I follow. And your friend is here too, says Sebastian as he walks down the halls. Friend? If I remember correctly, I don't have many friends as I spend most of my time at home and also study at home. When we get to the dining room, which is just amazing. It was incredibly large and luxurious, and the table was black with several chairs. And the food that had been served to was also amazing. Around the table were several maids arranging it. When she noticed me, they stopped what they were doing and bowed. Good morning, young master, they all say at the same time. I've never been so nervous before, it was so weird to see so many people bowing. Good morning everyone, I say as I head towards the table. I only hear a scream before a yellow blur crashes into me, causing me to fall to the ground. When I get ready to see who it is, I see a girl a little older than me, around 9 or 10, she had blonde hair that fell to her back and big sapphire blue eyes. Then I remember her name. Lavinia. But she can't be that Lavinia, can she? Miss Rennie, I ask that you release the young master, says Sabas with a smile at the situation. I can't stop myself from being surprised by who she is. Lavinia Rennie, the Ice Princess. User of Long Inu's absolute demise. How the hell did my old self meet her? But if you analyze it, is not so impossible. After all, if I remember, Lavinia was born in Italy, and when she was 9 or 10 her parents were killed in an accident and she awakened her sacred gear. Then she was found by a witch named Glenda, who took her in and took her to their organization. From my memories, my old self met Lavinia one day in a park, and soon after they became great friends, a sibling relationship, although he seemed to have a crush on Lavinia. And honestly, if she is already so cute now, imagine when to grow up. Calm down, you're not a pervert. It's been a while, Lavinia, I say to her, who has now let go of me. Yes, it's been a while, Gil, but I already told you to call me Lavi, she says with a cute pout. I let out a laugh at that. So what do I owe the visit to? I asked her, since it had been a while since she visited me according to my memories. It's just that Aunt Glenda told me we're moving, said Lavinia with a sad expression. I widened my eyes. So that already happened. I couldn't help but feel powerless. I just reincarnated, and a precious person to me is already suffering. But don't worry, Gil, I promise I'll call and visit you. You can come visit me too, says Lavinia with a big contagious smile before taking my hand and starting to run around the house. Every now and then Sabas looked at his young master with narrowed eyes. Some hours later. It's been a while since I talked to Lavinia. After that we spent the whole afternoon playing. I was really sad that I couldn't help Lavinia, and I promised myself that I will protect all the people precious to me, even if I have to fight all the factions in the world. After we played around for a bit, an old woman came to pick up Lavinia, and she kept staring at me like she wanted to see my soul. Or she suspected my sacred gear, which is not impossible. After all, this woman, Glenda, only rescued Lavinia so she could research her sacred gear. The scariest thing was that Sabas was also staring at her deathly. He was one step away from killing someone. Well, now it's been a while since Lavinia left, and I decided to see how the dungeon worked, and so I needed a place to test it, so I decided to go to the basement of the house, although it was difficult to convince Sabas to leave me alone. Now I'm in the basement, which doesn't really look like one after all. This is basically a big room full of toys and old objects that we don't use anymore. System: how do I activate the dungeon? The host must first select which creature will inhabit the dungeon. What are the system options? The options are as follows: devils, angels, fallen angels, dragons. More options will be released along the way. I see. Basically it's the main DxD races. Want a description, host? I didn't know it had description. Yes, the descriptions are as follows: demons. Demons are one of the 3 main factions of DxD, alongside angels and fallen angels. Fiends often have a human appearance, although they have black wings on their backs similar to bats. But there are also demons with demonic appearance. All devils have increased physical abilities such as superhuman strength, endurance, with enhanced senses such as increased hearing range and vision. Also, as creatures of the night, demons have the special ability to see clearly in the dark. Demons also have the ability to fly through their bat wings. Demons are also able to use a type of magical power called demonic power to perform various feats. Their biggest weaknesses are the holy weapons and the holy magic of the angels, which is capable of harming them. Angels. The angels are one of the 3 DxD factions, alongside the demons and fallen angels. Originating in heaven, angels are powerful beings who serve the biblical God and have the power to inflict pain on demons and, by extension, fallen angels, due to their light-based powers. Angels look similar to humans, except with white feathery wings and a halo positioned directly above their heads. All angels have light-based powers that can cause severe damage to demons and fallen angels, and can create numerous light weapons, such as spears, arrows, swords, a whip of light, balls of light and rings of light, which can be used to grab hold or restrain an enemy. Fallen angels. The fallen angels are one of the 3 factions of DxD along with demons and angels. Fallen angels are angels who have fallen from God's grace, due to having unclean thoughts that lead them astray from God's teachings in the Bible. The fallen angels have an appearance similar to your angels with their wings, however, their wings are black in color as opposed to the white wings of the angels. Furthermore, because they were cast out of heaven by God, they also do not have halos above their heads. Though cast out of heaven, the fallen angels retain the ability to create light weapons. This type of weaponry is extremely harmful and poisonous to the devils. Dragons. Dragons are one of the most powerful and prominent creatures in the DxD world. Dragons are creatures that represent power. As such, at all ages, dragons are admired, respected, and feared by all. Dragons are beings created from large masses of energy that act freely and selfishly. They have 2 prominent appearances, being the Eastern and Western dragons. The only major weakness of dragons are weapons with Dragon Slayer attribute. I understand now. And with this description it is also possible to understand the weaknesses of each race. System, what are the levels? The available levels are, low class, middle class, high class, final/ultimate class, class mu/seraphim/cotter. Understand. And to get out of the dungeon? To exit the dungeon, the host must meet one of two requirements: kill the boss. Have less than 100 HP. I understand, then either I kill the boss to leave or I must have my health below 100. What is boss? A boss or boss, also known as a boss, is an enemy that is usually faced at the end of a phase or section of the game and determines ascending to the next level. Since these enemies are generally stronger than those found throughout earlier steps and are one level higher than the host chooses, so if I choose the middle class dungeon, the boss will be upper class. I understand. System, make a dungeon of middle class demons. Yes, host, preparing dungeon. Slowly I see the space around me dissolve before it starts to change. The land that used to be full of toys and joyful turns into a great corridor of a medieval castle. The walls and the floor are made of stones, with large torches on the supporting columns that show the way. The cracks in the stones of the castle, on the walls and floor, seem to be made of pure flowing lava. Dungeon prepared. Good luck, host. Thank you, system. I started walking the halls calmly. I admit this is very scary. I feel a small shift in the magic of this place thanks to the mana manipulation skill, and looking forward I see the cause of that. From the shadows ahead comes a large being, about 2 meters tall. He was totally black, as if he were made of stones. He also had no face, only 2 flaming holes from where his eyes should have been, as well as large thorns from its back from which flames came out, and big sharp claws, besides having a kind of boot, or part of a piece of armor on its legs. I can't help but feel a shiver crawl up my back. It's actually a little scary. Quest alert. My first mission. Demon Hunter. Description: kill 100 demons. Quantity: 000/100. Reward: 100,000 gold, 1000 EXP. Eye of God skill. Hey, isn't that too much, system? There are 100 demons. Not, I grumble a little. Alright, let's get started. I stare at the demon in front of me, who so far hasn't taken a step. Name: Demon Soldier. Level: 16 HP, 1600 MP, 300. I raise an eyebrow. I didn't know I could see it. But the most worrying thing is its level. He's much bigger than mine. Too bad I can't see his attributes. Looking forward, I just see that the demon has disappeared. Widening my eyes, I jump to the side to dodge the demon's blow that with its claws hit the ground, piercing it as if it were paper, and the moment it hits the ground, flames emerge from its hands in the spot hit. Hey! If I got hit by that, I would die. I only escaped due to my reflexes. Quickly I open the gate of Babylon behind me, which comes through 3 golden ripples. From the left ripple comes a long-bladed medieval sword, from the middle ripple comes a black magic staff with golden outlines, and from the last ripple a spear with a silver blade and golden length appears. This wasn't my first time using the Gate of Babylon. After all, I trained a bit with it while I was still in the bedroom. Using Gate of Babylon is interesting, so to speak. When I first activated it, I felt like activating it and controlling it like I've been doing it my whole life. Maybe it's because of the memories of the original Gilgamesh, or because the system imprinted it on my mind. I wasn't sure, but I also didn't compare myself to the original Gilgamesh in using it. I first had the limitation of only being able to open a maximum of 7 gates, not only for my magical power, but also for my concentration. For the original Gilgamesh to open and control the Gate of Babylon was as simple as breathing. And also concentration is important. Without it I can end up summoning something random. If I want a specific weapon, I need to know about it. Apart from that, it is quite simple to control the Babylonian portal. I focus and prepare the magic staff that had come out of a portal. One thing I noticed about the magic staffs is that they already have the spells inside them. I just have to activate them and keep the Gate of Babylon open to use them. Sending some magic power to the staff that lights up in golden energy before unleashing it against the demon. The demon had not even noticed the energy that came to him. After all, he was still with his claws stuck in the stones, having no reaction time. The magic power hits the demon in full, causing an explosion. 700 HP. I see the notification that my attack reduced the demon's health by 700 points. After the dust caused by the explosion disappears, I see the demon still stunned and quickly throw the sword in its direction. The sword traveled at a great speed, piercing the stomach of the demon that screams in pain, not only for the damage, but also because this sword I fired was a holy sword. 800 HP. Before the demon even reacts, I shoot the spear in his direction, piercing his head. The demon, after receiving so many attacks, dissipates into a blue dust, causing my weapons to fall to the ground, before returning to the Gate of Babylon, dissipating into a golden dust. You killed a middle-class demon. You received 500 EXP. I sigh a little. For my first battle, I think I went well. I widen my eyes as I feel danger and jump to the right just in time to dodge a large spear that hit the ground. Looking at the new attackers, I notice their appearance. The one who attacked me had a medium stature, and what attracted the most attention was his head, which was made of a goat's skull, and he wielded a large black spear that appeared to be made of stones. The further back had an appearance identical to the one I had defeated, only being a little shorter and wielding a magic staff that had flames dancing around it. Quickly the demon with the spear advanced on me. I started to dodge skillfully, thanks to my great perception and senses. One of those dodge, I see the demon with the staff throw a fireball at me. I jumped to the side dodging it, but the demon with the spear was already in front of me with the spear he threw at me. But before the spear reached, I opened the gate of Babylon, taking a sword that defended the demon's attack. Without wasting time, I opened another portal below the demon's head where a sword pierced the demon's head. You killed a middle-class demon, you gained 500 EXP. The demon with the staff prepares to cast another spell, but acting faster, I opened 3 more portals where 3 holy swords appear that fired at the demon that screamed in pain when it was hit in the legs and arms. Without letting the demon recover, I throw the sword I had used to defend the demon's attack with the spear and hang on its head. You killed a middle-class demon, you gained 500 EXP. I sigh a little as I watch my MP return. Wishes to loot? Yes. No. That I didn't know. Yes. Picking. Congratulations, the host has received 2 items and 1 skill. You have acquired Demon Spear, you have acquired Magic Staff of the Fire Demon, you have acquired the skill Spear Mastery. Items have been added from the Gate of Babylon. I understand, so I gained an ability and weapons from the demons. Can you give me a system description? Yes. Host name, Demonic Spear. Rarity, rare. Description, an ancient spear forged in the underworld using a rare metal that had an incredible degree of cut and penetration, used by a demon that lost it in battle. Gains 19% more damage per hit with this spear, when equipped. Name, Magic Staff. Rarity, rare. Description, an ancient magic staff that belonged to a demon that unraveled the mysteries of fire magic, causing this magical power to be trapped in the staff. 14% more damage from magic attacks, when equipped. Underscore 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 unname, Spear Mastery. Type, passive. Rarity, normal. Level, 01/20. Description, increases mastery and accuracy with spears. Only applies if the user is brandishing a spear. 15% more mastery with a spear, 1% accuracy. Very interesting. Deciding to give up this ability, I summoned from the Gate of Babylon a spear that had a golden shaft with white designs and its tip was silver, being slightly curved. The moment I touched the spear, I felt an intuition of how to use it. Although I didn't quite master it, I could already know the basics of how to use it. I brace myself with the spear as I decide to advance into the dungeon. Maybe I should try to release my sacred gear. Well, I'm in a bad situation right now. In short, I had started to move recklessly through the dungeon, killing all the demons I saw, but then I ended up getting cornered. How cornered? Right in front of me, sides and back are full of demons, and I don't think I could handle them with just Gate of Babylon, unless I use a big noble phantasm. Well, it's time to try and unlock my sacred gear. I could have tried to do this before, but as I recall, sacred gears respond to the feelings of their users. I close my eyes and focus on the small power of the Mima sacred gear that I feel coursing through my body. I had seen myself in a great dark void for a few moments, until a small light was present. I couldn't help but widen my eyes at the sight of what could only be described as Mother Nature's fury. There were gigantic waves of water that devoured continents, tornadoes that destroyed everything in their path, ice and snowstorms that froze deserts, and scorching flames as hot as the sun itself, storm clouds that unleashed their lightning showers on the earth, earthquakes that they split continents in half. When I opened my eyes, I felt the power coursing through my body. Waves of ice rushed against the demons, freezing everything in their path. The moisture in the air condensed to the point of creating a great wave of water that swept everything in its path. The earth shook and rose towards the demons. Clouds began to accumulate on the roof of the castle, causing lightning to fall on the field, as well as flames that danced around me, burning everything that tried to hurt me. I could see the fear in the demons' eyes. A big smile crossed my face. This is going to be a massacre. It's been a while since I released my sacred gear, and now I'm sitting and leaning against a wall while looking at the door that would lead to the boss. Looking back, I only see destruction. Spears of ice and earth stuck to the walls, as well as large puddles and swords made of water on the ground as the flames continued to burn. I think I overreacted. Quest completed. Glad I managed to finish. Demon Hunter description: kill 100 demons. Quantity: 100/100. Reward: 100,000 gold, 1000 EXP. God's Eye skill: you won 100,000 gold, you gained 1000 EXP points, you gained the Eye of God skill. Very good. Can you give me a system description? Yes. Host name, Eye of God. Level, 01/10. Type, active. Rarity, rare. Cost of MP, 0. Description: this skill allows the user to see the level and even the attributes of his opponents. If mastered, the host can see their history and abilities. Ho ho, this is certainly a very useful skill. Secret quest completed. I didn't know they had secret missions. My sacred gear description, unlock your sacred gear. Reward, 100,000 gold, 500 EXP, item special summon letter you won 100,000 gold you gained 500 EXP points you've earned the item special summon card item has been added from inventory that is great. Now I see it later, first. Status. Name, Gilgamesh lineage, demigod title, King of Heroes sacred gear, Zenith Tempest level, 09 underscore 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 on HP, 9,000/9,000, 1000 HP every 20 seconds, MP, 9,000/9,000, 1000 MP every 10 seconds, underscore 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 on STR, 900 VIT, 900 int, 900 dex, 900 lucky, 900 underscore 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 gold, 200,000. So I'm at level 9 and mostly my sacred gear is Zenith Tempest, the second strongest long Enus. Can you give me a system description? Yes. Host name, Zenith Tempest type, active. Rarity, ultra rare. MP spend, 0. Description, Zenith Tempest, also known as Prison of Bright Heavenly Thunder, is a high-level long Enus. It is ranked second strongest long Enus after true long Enus. One of the 13 long Enus created by the god from the Bible, Zenith Tempest is considered one of the biggest bugs of the sacred gear system, possessing world-class powers that could destroy the world when used in the wrong hands. Powers. The Zenith Tempest has the ability to control the weather and the elemental attributes that exist in nature, fire, wind, lightning, water, earth, and ice. Therefore, it is possible to create artificial clouds in places where there is no sky. Balance breaker locked. Secret conditions must be met, so my long Enus is Zenith Tempest. If I'm not mistaken, in the novel it was used by Dulio Gesualdo and Stronger Exorcist. But now it mine. And honestly it is very helpful. For example, if I dived boosted gear I wouldn't be able to get out of that situation so well, after all my body wouldn't be able to withstand long Enus power. But with Zenith Tempest I didn't have that problem, because when I went to use her power I felt that every call she responded by releasing her power in the form of the elements, and that's very useful. As far as individual power is concerned, other long Enus may be stronger, but as far as power and reach this long Enus is far superior. After all, she has the power to destroy the world. Now leaving that aside, I need to prepare myself. After all, on the other side of that door is the boss, and he's probably stronger and has more abilities than the ones I faced. First I need to see some points in my power. System, do you have any weapons handling skills? Yes. Host looking for, finding skills, weapon proficiency equals 50,000 gold. Is expensive but will be very useful. Buy me system. Shopping, -50,000 gold purchased. Want to learn the skill weapon proficiency? Yes. Learning, I felt that my head was separating and the parts were being placed in the basic mode of use of each existing weapon. Learned due to the host having the skill weapon proficiency. The skill spear mastery has become EXP weapons proficiency level up. Name, weapons proficiency level, 02/20 type, passive. Rarity, super rare. Description, user only needs to pick up a weapon before becoming proficient in it. The first time he takes a sword, he can fight as a master. The first time he uses a bow, he can hit any target. Even alien weapons, magic or other weapons they shouldn't understand work naturally for them. Yes, this is certainly very useful and will form a great combination with Gate of Babylon. Now since I'm going to fight a demon. System, show me the Slayer spells from Fairy Tale. Yes. Host skills, God Slayer magic equals 100,000 gold. Dragon Slayer magic equals 100,000 gold. Devil Slayer magic equals 100,000 gold. Is expensive but it will be very useful. System, buy me the magic Devil Slayer of Lightning. Shopping, -100,000 gold purchased. Want to join Lightning Devil Slayer magic? Yes. Integrating, so I felt like my head was split into a million pieces and in each of them the use of this magic was recorded. The same happened with my body, which I felt was in the middle of a great storm of lightning that was falling on it, but instead of hurting it was strengthening it. Successfully integrated. Name, Lightning Devil Slayer magic level, 01/100. Type, passive. Rarity, super rare. Description, this form of magic allows its users to use a specific element to kill demons. It also allows the user to eat their respective element to replenish strength and become immune to its effects like other types of slayers. It has also been suggested that Devil Slayer magic is a very fickle spell, and that learning it quickly and making use of its properties in quick succession can have adverse effects on the user, causing them to demonize, becoming afflicted with black marks that spread over the entire body, covering nearly half of the user and changing the eye color on the affected side of the body at peak, although those who master this spell are able to summon these markings at will, allowing them to become immune, in a limited degree, to the effects of curses. It was specifically mentioned that the souls of those who hunt demons begin to become contaminated, causing users of this spell to progressively lose their sanity, which prompts them to make irrational decisions. This spell also allows its users to gain information about a demon just by watching it for a second. Also, because of being an exorcist, demon hunters have the ability to kill or exorcise the demonic power, exerting their magic power on the target, using the demon side of their magic, as this is the real objective of magic. Lightning Devil Slayer magic allows its users to use a specific element to slay demons. In the case of this particular type, the mage can create, generate, and manipulate the lightning element for various purposes, primarily combat purposes. The lightning element embodied in this spell differs from standard lightning or electricity. The power of the beam allows you to achieve a variety of different advantages, such as vaporization of objects, paralysis, burning, etc. The electrocuting power of the demonic ray is considered the highest of the three Slayer magic standards, Dragon, God, and Devil Slayers. The user can create, manipulate their element any way they want and, even more, can improve its performance with the help of naturally occurring rays. It can even with a single movement cover the entire sky in endless storm clouds. Devil Force locked, level 50 required. What incredible magic! When I lift my left hand there is a tribal tattoo in the shape of lightning and thunder, and my wrist has started to glow purple electricity. The rays of my Devil Slayer magic. But there is something that worries me. System, can I turn into a demon due to this spell? This is honestly something I don't want. The host doesn't need to worry because of me you won't take that risk, although when you reach the Devil Force you'll be able to temporarily transform into one and enjoy its powers. I see, you are amazing System. I managed to feel a slight tone of System happiness when I said the compliment. I think it's our mental bond. Is obvious. Okay, now that was pride. Well, leaving that aside, I think it's time to enter the boss's chamber, room. I walk slowly towards the big door that opens. You entered the chief's room. Good luck host. Thank you System. I look around until everything lights up and I see a kind of throne room in the castle just like it was made of rocks and lava around, and in the center was a big throne where the boss was sitting. The being that was sitting there on the throne was a large being, about over 2 meters tall. He seemed to be made of pyres and living flames, and the heat he emanated was great. He also carried a large medieval-looking sword that it appeared to be made of cooled, condensed lava. He looked like the one out of Thor's movie. Around him were 4 beings, 2 on each side. He was big, even bigger than the demon in the center. They looked like big fat red ogres with purple mouth as well as a big tongue and horns. Honestly, they were identical to the red demons of Nanatsu no Taizai. I think that although the description of DxD demons was given, the dungeon puts any being that could be considered of demonic origin here. Of course it looks like their powers are adapted. Quickly I use the God's Eye skill. Name, Sir Tour lineage, demon title, Flame demon level, 24 underscore 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 on HP 24,000/24,000 MP 15,000/15,000 underscore 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 on STR 1200 VIT 2400 int 500 dex 800 lucky 100 underscore 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 status by host. Hate for hacking your domain. Yes, even the name is the same. And the stats are very high, as expected from a high-level demon. At least I think. The other demons on your side have the middle-class level. New quest. A new mission. Demon Hunter 2.0 description, kill the Demonio Sir Tour. Reward, 100,000 gold, 500 EXP, Hellblazer skill. Ho ho, this is very good. Mainly the skill. But System, you have little creativity to name the missions. This is the host goddess's fault. I can't help but sweat it out. On a distant existential plane, in an existential plane far away from Gilgamesh and the other worlds, it is possible to see the 3 goddesses sitting on a large sofa with several goodies at their sides while watching TV, which by chance is telling the story of Gilgamesh. The goddesses were having a lot of fun watching, as it was hard to have anything different to see when you were millennia old. Things get boring. The goddesses laughed as they watched Gilgamesh's adventures, until they saw the System blame them for their lack of creativity. Hey, it's not our fault, it's that lazy author's fault, yells one of them, getting a nod from the others. On an even more distant existential plane. On an even more distant existential plane, far from all gods and fictional worlds, it is possible to see the author in his own universe where he reigns alone, being the sovereign of his own cosmos. The author was preparing a new chapter for his story, which he had already written before but was erased, when he sees the goddesses blaming him for lack of creativity, which is not wrong. Sorry for the lack of creativity, the author said to himself until he heard a scream call him, come wash up now, the shout says. Yes mom, says the author, running in fear. Well, looks like he doesn't reign so alone. It's like saying, there will always be someone above you.